Hello, dear ones. Welcome back to another video. I'm so happy to be back. I have not been on YouTube for a while, and I thought that I'd come back to share longer content and also come back to YouTube because I think sometimes there are a lot of topics that is on my mind, and I guess I'm trying to put it in a process and edit it and find a way that I can put something in a more concise way and for you to understand. So, ever since I came back from my India trip, which I haven't updated about, it's changed a lot of things in my life and how I see the world and how everything is different and how we need to start looking at things in a more meaningful way. So, I really want to make this video on faith and trusting your path and how do we really find that? Because how quick it is that we get so consumed by the world and so much things that are happening, and we forget what truly matters to us. We forget to look inside and ask the deeper questions, the questions that we're so afraid to ask, such as, what is my purpose? What am I here to do? Why can't I trust and believe my path? Why is it so hard to trust myself, to feel confident, to love myself fully, unconditionally, without putting a lot of things that I need to love myself for? And so this trip really has taught me to put things together, to really come head to head and heart to heart and have a conversation with what really matters to me. And in my trip, there was things where I started asking more deeper questions, deeper than what is my purpose. It really didn't stop at what is my purpose. It became so profound that I started to ask questions like, what really matters? Often we forget what really matters to us by really being sucked into that question of what is my purpose. So basically, purpose is doing something that is aligned with your values and doing something of service to feel like you're receiving something. Because often, what can happen when you're in this path of discovering who you are and your journey, there's a lot of curiosity, a lot of things you want to try out, a lot of things you want to experience to then understand yourself, to then form yourself. And one of the really hardest thing about this path is you're going to uncover all the things that you were not, and that there is a process of letting that go. And in the process of letting that go, you're going to be required to really face things as they are, no matter how uncomfortable it gets. Because if you pause now and think, what really matters to me? What is of value? And you start sinking into this question. And I don't want you to think of this question from your head. Drop down to your heart, because that is where your answer is always. By asking, what do I deeply value? What do I deeply care about? And really, as you're asking this question, I want you to breathe into the question. Don't let it go up your head. Don't let the logic take over your intuition, take over what really matters in your heart. Matter of fact, I actually got a tattoo that says intuition because I think it's so quick to forget what really matters to you and follow what's in your heart. More and more you start asking this question, and you can place one hand on your heart. You start to see that all these ideas, all these doubts that you've been having for years start to dissipate because you start to allow your own creative process to happen for you. For me, for example, creating video, giving value, sharing knowledge, information, anything that is helpful in my life is valuable to me. When I do it, I feel on purpose. When I do it, I feel a lot of things in my body because it's something I've dreamt of, and it's something that I've been working towards, and I know it's good for the world. And I'm thinking outside of myself. When we start giving back and doing something of value without expecting something, without having an outcome of how it should look, that's when you're living your purpose. So stop asking, what is my purpose? Start asking or start feeling into your purpose by excluding the word, because I feel like the word itself puts a lot of pressure on yourself to make it sound like this extraordinary thing. It is, by the way. Your purpose and what you're meant to do here is extraordinary. But how about we bring that inside and feel into it? What does it feel to be on purpose? What does it feel to live on purpose every day? What does it feel instead of what is my purpose? What does it feel? And does it reflect my values? Because your values in life are your roadmap. It's what is going to lead you to the next step, the next outcome, the next goal. So that means that what is aligned with my values, with your values, from there, you're going to extract your purpose, quote unquote, purpose. It can be anything, really. It doesn't have to be this huge thing that our mind tends to make it because it needs an answer pretty quick. But it's often in these subtle moments that we feel that deep alignment. So dropping down to our body, dropping down to the heart. Your answers always come from here. And anytime it's coming from the logic, the no is surviving. It's trying to understand the situation. It's trying to analyze the situation instead of, I'm here, I'm grounded, I know exactly what I want. This place of knowing, this place of intuition, this place of trust, that is your guidance. Nothing else that your mind is shaping and creating will be the answer or will lead you to the next direction. It often comes down to here. Am I serving? Am I being of purpose? Purpose can be grabbing coffee for a friend, right? When we know deep down this is what we're meant to tend to doing, that's when we lead from that place. And that's hence when we can move our life navigating that way instead of my, and instead of asking of self. So understand that there's a lot of things that we know, a lot of things that we can decide right now. And I'm sure that you have a big list or a short list of things that you want to do, but it's the but that we attach to every single sentence that maybe not, maybe it's not good enough, maybe I'm not good enough. And we get sucked into those stories that as I'm talking about this, I'm just sharing from my own experience that all these doubts, all these imaginations, all these, surfing here and there have led me here. It was never, I'm confident, I know that I got this, I know that this is what I'm meant to do, but that really wasn't the energy that everything was coming from. It was simply came from, I love to share and give. Can I not do it? Instead of thinking, am I worthy for this? Are people going to watch me? Or we end up, scrolling actually through our life thinking, does this matter? Is this good enough? Am I overthinking this? I feel insecure. And all these may be true, but when we let that be as it is without trying to change that, because you're going to have the question, you're going to have the doubts, you're going to have to do the uncomfortable things to get to where you want to be. What truly matters is it aligned with my values? So what are your values? Having to list down, I feel like I should have a whiteboard behind me to do this because I feel like I could explain it better. Let's see if we can get that sorted out. What is deeply aligned and what matters to you is what your life will be about eventually. So sinking into that perspective, knowing to have so much faith and trust that even though this is not aligned, or you feel like you have this feeling it's not aligned, but it's also that I feel this way is actually a thought itself. But instead, dropping down into your body and heart, what does it feel like in this moment to have this? What does it feel like in this moment to visualize this life? What does it feel like in this moment that I stepped into my courage and allow my heart to be open, even if it broke, but trusting that you'll get back up, because that's why we're here. We're humans. We are meant to mend. We are meant to bend down. We are meant to have all these experiences that gives you flavor in life, because without all these anxiety and the stages that break you the most and shatter you, you would never come out as this person. So what I want you to realize here is it can be created, it can be shifted just in a moment. It's all about shifting and trusting and really having that faith, like immense blind faith within that it will work out. Because at the end of the day, doubts are gonna exist. They will exist for as long as you're gonna be here on earth. And when we don't let those doubts stop us from taking that action, taking that step forward, that's when we know if something is working and something is not. And this goes to this question, right? Or this concept goes to everything, goes through everything in life, whether that's your relationships, that's your career, that's your growth journey. Instead of asking what's my purpose, am I living in alignment with my values? And how does it feel to be in alignment with my values? So oftentimes it's not that we don't know the answers, we're asking the wrong questions. And we're expecting the answer to come right up. We're expecting the answer to just come from our head. But you already do know. You're just afraid to admit. You're just afraid to take that step. You're just afraid to make mistakes, or to maybe try something and it ends up being something that you didn't like. But that's also part of the divine process. Once we take that step regardless, that's how you build in the trust within yourself. And that's how you take or feel that powerfulness within you. Not through the state of figuring it out through the logic. Because, the answer can always come from here, yes, sometimes, but other times it's not going to come from here. And if it's ever coming from here, that means there's something they're trying to micromanage or control, when it needs to be really felt. And through that felt sensation is when you know that you are fully aligned. Even if your mind tries to play tricks and games to convince you that it's not, the universe will always align to you what is yours, and it will always gift it to you in really little steps or little ways that you may not recognize at first. You think it's coincidence, or you think it's some gift from somewhere, but it truly is a gift from the universe with what you asked for. So start asking the right questions and start asking deeper questions instead of just surface level what I want. It's what do I feel deeply aligned with? Can I sit down and just be still with my own values and what truly, really matters? Forget about logic, forget about what is important to someone else, forget about what you thought was right or how you were raised or brought up into thinking, yes, this is right, this is wrong. Right and wrong is only made by someone who is basically not lived your life. But you do know what is truth to you, what is authentic to you, what really, really matters deep down. And so let me know in the comments what really stood out from you. And what are you going to take? What step are you going to take? How are you going to change the narration of your life? Because you only are in control of it. Or let's put it in a better way, you only know what's right for you in that moment. So I'm curious to hear your opinion. Drop them down in the comments. I do read every single comment. And I appreciate you for watching and for being here. And I'll see you in the next one.